Today, with my video series 82, let us understand analysis of company's balance sheet, reclassification of items of company's balance sheet, and calculation of financial ratios from balance sheet of a company. We have, while my video series 81, learned the classification of various items of a company's profit and loss account. We also understood the analysis of the company's profit and loss account. Now, by this video series 82, we are going to discuss the balance sheet of a company and analysis of company's balance sheet from the bank's perspective and the computation of financial ratio from the bank's or the lender's point of view. I am using an actual balance sheet of a company with 2 years figures. We had already discussed by my video series 81 the profit and loss account statement of the same company for the same period. The balance sheet of a company as per the Companies Act 2013 has got two broad classifications. One is equity and liabilities. Under that we have equity, non-current liability and current liability. The other side is the classification of assets of the company, which are again subdivided into non-current assets and current assets. Now I have shown the balance sheet. It comes in the vertical form considering the non-availability of adequate space. I have put it parallelly. It starts from equity and liabilities, followed by non-current liabilities, followed by current liabilities. Then all the three heads put together, we have total equity and liabilities. Here when you look at the classifications, first one is equity share capital with note number 1, which gives further details on the equity share capital. Then we have non-current liability, of which one item is the long-term borrowing, where the further classification is given. Then we have the current liabilities, where again we have short-term borrowing, the details of which can be seen from the note number 4. Now on the asset side, we have non-current assets and current assets. The non-current assets, the fixed assets has a note number 5, which gives further details on the fixed assets. And under current assets, we have an item called other current assets marked as 6, which will give you further details or breakup of the other current assets. Now the first one is equity share capital. Parallelly on the right hand side, you can see the note number 1 giving the share capital details. First one is the authorized share capital. The second one is the issued share capital. And the third one is subscribed and paid up share capital. If you look at there in the subscribed and paid up, there is an equity capital of 820 lakhs, followed by non-cumulative, non-redeemable preference shares of rupees 10 each, which is 2,500 lakhs, making the total subscribed and paid up capital to 33 crore 20 lakhs. Moving on further, here we give the details of the reserves and surplus. If you see the right hand side, details, you will see there is a share premium account 9 crore 78 lakhs and the preference share premium account 25 crore, making the total share premium account to 34 crore 78 lakhs. Then there is a surplus which gives the opening balance where the profit is added and making the closing balance to 32.87 crores. There is an item which is mentioned as and retained earnings, which is on account of change in method of depreciation. That means the company had changed the method of depreciation of fixed assets. Whenever the company changes the method of depreciation, they have to indicate that separately. Now going to the next financial year ending 31/3/16, the closing balance is taken at 33.27 crore. During that year, the company incurred a loss of 1.56 crores, which is subtracted from the opening balance, making the closing balance of the surplus at 31.71 crores. So the total reserves and surplus, which was 68.05 crore, reduced to 66.49 crore. Whenever we analyze a balance sheet, any figures which need further clarification from the company may please be noted. Here in this case, the reserves and surplus has reduced from 32.87 crore to 31.71 crore. That means the company incurred a loss. We need to ascertain the reasons for the company to incur the losses. Similarly, the retained earnings, which is added on account of change in depreciation, we need to understand from the company the reason why the method of depreciation has been changed. Now coming to the non-current liability, there is an item called long-term borrowing 3, the details of which is separately given, of which one is a secured term loan from bank. The second one is an unsecured loan, that is no security is given. If you look at the figures of both the years, you find that the term loan from bank had increased from 32.65 crore to 48.28 crore. We need to understand the reason for the increase of 16 crore in term loan. Similarly, it is pertinent to note that there is a reduction in unsecured loan. That is from 31.02 crore, the unsecured loan had decreased to 30.42 crore. Though the amount appears to be nominal, we need to understand why the unsecured loan have been repaid despite the fact that there is no reduction in the bank finance. When it comes to current liability, we need to understand that the short-term borrowing is also secured. It is nothing but the working capital, which was 115.39 crore, which increased to 166.68 crore. We understood while analyzing the company's profit and loss account statement that the sales of the company declined by 7%. Despite the decline in sales by 7%, the working capital finance increased substantially from 115.39 crore to 166.68 crore. We need to understand the reason therefore. And again, if you look at the current liability, other sundry creditors, which was only 5.59 crore, increased to 45.45 crores. We need to ask the company to give the breakup and the purpose for such an increase in other sundry creditors. When you go to the asset side, the fixed assets breakup is given. If you look at the gross block has increased from 139.03 crore to 174.74 crore. That means there is a substantial investment in the fixed asset. So we need to understand the source of the company. What is the source of fund which helped the bank company in making this investment to the extent of 174.74 crore, and they have added machinery worth 36.38 crore in 2015 and 26.27 crore in 2016. There are some disposals worth 67 lakhs in 2015, whereas there is no disposal in 2016. Thus, the gross block, the closing stock, the closing value of the fixed assets investment increased from 174.74 crore to 201.01 crores. So we need to understand the sources of fund from where the company could raise funds to make this investment. When you look at the capital work in progress, there is no addition, but the company had capitalized 34.82 crore worth fixed assets in 2015 and 16.02 crore in 2016. They got added to the gross block. When we come to the current assets, the major point which is to be noted here is the outstanding of trade debtors exceeding 6 months had increased from 22.50 crore to 37.20 crores. Similarly, the other current assets, the details of which is given in note number 6, had substantially increased from 5.82 crore to 27.59 crore. If you look at the breakup, you will understand two things. One, the deposit kept with the various government departments had increased from 28 lakhs to 4.33 crores. Similarly, other advances, including advance to vendors, have increased from 3.37 crores to 21.78 crores. We may have to obtain the required details from the company on this increase and find out its genuineness or acceptability as a banker. Now, having seen the balance sheet of the company, let us look at the analysis of the balance sheet of a company from the banker's perspective. How do we do that? The liability side is divided into three: current liability, term liability, and net worth. Here we go by the order of maturity. Which liability matures first? We know current liability is a liability which is to be settled within a period of 12 months. And term liability is a liability which has got a repayment period exceeding 12 months. And the net worth is nothing but the owner's funds, which consists of the capital, reserve, and surplus. So the first two, that is the current liability and the term liability, are payable to outsiders, whereas a net worth, the capital, the reserve, and surplus, is to be paid to the owners of the business. On the other side, the assets are divided into current assets, fixed assets, non-current assets, intangible assets. We know that current assets are assets which are convertible into cash and are part of the operating cycle. In the fixed assets, the intangible assets are separately classified in the banker's analysis as intangible assets. Anything which doesn't fit into current assets, fixed assets, and intangible assets will be shown as non-current assets. In other words, non-current asset means it is an asset which is not a part of the working capital cycle, or it is an asset which cannot be converted into cash in the next 12 months. What is the need to restructure the P&L account and balance sheet? The companies present the profit and loss account and balance sheet as per the Companies Act 2013. The sequence in which they are presented and the assumptions based on which they are presented does not meet the requirement of a banker. Banker uses the P&L account and the balance sheet to ascertain various aspects such as the liquidity, the leverage, the company's source of profit, company's repayment capacity, the viability of the project, comparison of the past performance with the projections, proper presentation of short and long-term sources and uses of funds, working capital finance assessment, diversion of funds, etc. To facilitate proper analysis, the banks reclassify the profit and loss account statement and the balance sheet using a different format. See, first let us look at the equity and liability side. The first item is current liability. Any liability which is to be settled within a period of 12 months from the date of balance sheet. Three major items are working capital finance, trade payables, and the current maturity of the term debt. That we know that there is a term loan. What is the amount that is to be paid in the next 12 months will be carved out and will be shown as current maturity of the term debt. The next item is term liability. Any liability the company has to pay in a period beyond 12 months. Examples could be a term loan or an unsecured loan where the prepayment is more than 12 months, or a debentures which are floated by the company where the maturity period goes beyond 12 months. Net worth represents the owner's funds. This includes capital, reserves and surplus, etc. Any losses, miscellaneous expenses, preliminary expenses, pre-operative expenses will have to be deducted from reserves and surplus even if the figure turns out to be a negative one. This is a new stipulation given in the Companies Act 2013. When we go to the current assets, any asset which can be converted into cash in the next 12 months and which are a part of the operating cycle, they are shown as current assets. Any asset which are permanent in nature and are used for continuing the activity of the business is classified as fixed assets. And under fixed assets, there are certain items which are shown as intangible assets or assets intangible in nature which are under development. In the banker's analysis, the intangible assets and the intangible assets which are under development will be shown under a separate head called intangible assets. And there is an item which is called non-current asset. Non-current asset is an asset which is not a part of the operating cycle but can be converted into cash in the next 12 months, or which are part of the operating cycle but cannot be converted into cash in the next 12 months. And all investments, whether the investments are current in nature or long-term in nature, all investments, bankers do classify them under non-current assets. Now coming to current liability, the breakup, as I have told already, there are two things which becomes noticeable are the spurt in increase in the working capital finance and the spurt in increase in the other sundry creditors. When it comes to long-term liability, there is an increase in the long-term liability. The second one is a deferred tax liability, which we have already discussed earlier, which has increased by almost 2 crore. And there is a trade deposit the company had collected from its buyers. If you look at it, the same was 76.01 crore in 2015, which has now reduced to 25.98 crore. That means there is a decline of 50 crore in trade deposit. Please note this for getting clarification from the company. The current liability plus term liability is together is called as total outside liability. Here if you look at the total outside liability was 432.65 crore, which has increased to 476.86 crore, despite the fact that the company had returned trade deposit worth 50 crore. Here the important question is, when the sales declined by 7%, the short-term borrowing increased by 44%. This is a point to be noted while assessing the proposal for renewal or enhancement in credit facility. When it comes to equity and liability side, you see the decline in reserves and surplus, which is on account of the company incurring a loss of 1.56 crore. As we know, the sales of the company declined by 7% and the company incurred a loss of 1.56 crore. Coming to the current asset side, the cash and cash equivalents are there. Then trade receivables are there. Then inventories are given. There the noticeable figure is other advance, including advanced vendors, had increased from 3.37 crore to 21.78 crores. When it comes to fixed assets, we have already discussed. The fixed assets, the depreciated value will be shown. The capital work in progress will be shown separately because that cannot be depreciated. Together in 2015, it was 136.75 crore and 16.02 is capitalized, and the net block had increased to 137.30 crore. Likewise, when you come to the non-current assets, all investments, whether current or long term, will be shown under non-current assets, because under current assets, only those items which are part of the operating cycle and which are convertible into cash can alone find a place, because the bank extends working capital finance based on the proposed investment in the total current assets, and all items therein should be a part of the working capital cycle, and all the items therein should be convertible into cash in the next 12 months. Now, what are the various financial ratios? After having got it analyzed, we will find out. Tangible net worth, that is net worth minus intangible assets. Medium and long-term loans, that is a term liability. What is a net block? Current ratio, that is current assets divided by current liability. It shows about the liquidity position of the company. Current assets means which are convertible in the cash in the next 12 months. And current liability is the liability which need to be settled within 12 months. So, how much current assets the company has to pay the current liability. Then we have term loan to tangible net worth, total outside liability to tangible net worth, capital employed, that is total assets minus current liability, then earning before interest and taxes, return on capital employed. Return on capital employed is equal to EBIT, earning before interest and taxes, divided by capital employed as a percentage. Then net working capital. Please understand, net working capital to TCA. Please remember, net working capital represents the margin available for working capital. Actually, the definition is the surplus of long-term sources over long-term users. It is not TCA minus TCL. The long-term sources are term liability and the net worth. Long-term uses are fixed assets, non-current assets, and intangible assets. So when we calculate the net working capital, that is a margin for working capital, what we need to do is take the sum of term liability and the net worth. From that sum, deduct the sum of fixed assets, non-current assets, and intangible assets. That is what is called the margin for working capital. Then bank borrowing to working capital, bank borrowing for working capital finance to total current assets, trade creditor to total current assets, other current liabilities to total current assets, debtors velocity. How many months credit on an average the company gives to its buyers to make payment. Similarly, creditors velocity. How many months of credit the company gets on making purchases. Then stock turnover ratio. It is nothing but cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. Cost of goods sold is equal to cost of sales. Then we have the long-term sources of fund, long-term uses of fund, surplus of LTS over LTU. Here if you look at that in the year 2015, the net working capital or the margin available for working capital was 93.39 crore, which substantially reduced to 39.78 crore. One of the reason is the repayment of the trade deposit by 50 crore. And the short-term sources, it has increased, short-term uses increased, having a deficit of the 93.39 and 39.78. By this video series 82, we have learned the reclassification of various items of a company's balance sheet. We also understood the analysis of the company's balance sheet and computation of financial ratios. Subscribe to this channel to receive intimation on my new videos. Press the like button and share the information with your friends. In my next video series 83, I shall be discussing 1. Comparison of actual investment in current assets with projected investment in current assets. Normally, whenever a cash credit facility or any working capital facility, the company seeks by way of enhancement, we will ask the company to give next to 2 years projections. The projection means they will give next to 2 years projected profitability statement and the projected balance sheet. There we will find that there is a substantial increase in current assets. Our working capital finance will be against the current assets. Then how do we justify or how do we understand that the projected investment in current asset is reasonable and acceptable to the bank? Second is assessment of working capital finance using a method called MPBF. It is called maximum permissible bank finance method. It is also called as balance sheet method. And the third one is preparation of fund flow statement. Preparation of fund flow statement is required to check the diversion of fund. When we say diversion of fund, the bank expects the company to use short-term sources for short-term uses and long-term sources for long-term uses and margin. So in case there is a diversion, that is, say for example, the short-term sources are used for long-term uses, there will be a liquidity crisis. To know that, we prepare what is called as funds flow statement. Thank you very much.